Welcome to Double Fries No Slaw. It is Wednesday evening. It is a preview show for Richie and myself. We are previewing the FSU football and Louisiana Ragin Cajun game that will happen on Saturday at noon at Doak. A little bit different this week. We don't have a guest, a little bit different opponent. We're going to do something a little bit more fun. We're still going to do our made equal pick six. We've still got Rohan Law involved. They're going to be doing sponsoring a segment that we're excited for the end of the show. Still live here at Bay Cannon. I'm drinking on a hoppy sour right now, hoppy golden sour. I've also got their new Tabitha, which is a new release that if you're in the Tampa Bay area, you should come and try. Bourbon barrel aged stout, caramel and chocolate flavors. You guys will love it.
I need to get out to Bay Cannon, TJ. Jeez,
bro, I'll get you one of those. I'll get you one of those. But yeah, you need to get over here in the off season. So if you're watching, if you're listening, make sure that you thumbs up the video. Do us a favor. Share it if you don't mind. We love the share button. Make sure you're subscribed. All those things. We'll talk about the Noles, the Ragin Cajuns a little bit, get into some fun bowl stuff later. But Richie, how's your week going so far?
Pretty good, man. Just preparing the mother-in-law come Sunday for an entire week to stay with us. So I'm just preparing for that right now. I'm excited for Thanksgiving and, just rivalry week. But, it's the week before the week we got Billy's old team. Excited to see how things play out Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, no doubt. We're leaving early Saturday morning. Once it got moved to a noon kick, I was like, we got to leave a couple hours earlier to go up to North Georgia to spend the week in Blue Ridge, the week of Thanksgiving in Blue Ridge. So I want to get up there so that I can see the game at noon. But excited to get up and just kind of spend some time away, spend some time with the family, reflect on what's most important, and sit around and look at what we've got to be thankful for, and also let the kids drive us crazy for 4 or 5 days away from home. So, but excited for it, excited for next week, and certainly excited to – I hate to overlook, but I'm really excited for next Friday night. that's what I'm most excited about. So let's get after it. Let's talk a little bit about Louisiana. Start us off. I've got everything pulled up here too, but start us off. Let's talk a little bit about the game. I mentioned Bay Cannon. There's a link in the description. It's shop.bevana, BEVANA.com. You can search for Bay Cannon there, and you can get some of the fantastic beer that I'm drinking here. But talk to us about the Ragin Cajuns.
Yeah, before we get into that, let's talk a little Rohan Law. They specialize in injury cases. If you have been hurt in a wreck or slip and fall, Rohan Law are the Noles you need. Doug and his wife Julia are former marching chiefs, and Doug graduated from FSU's law school. Just like we enjoy talking strategy, Doug and his team will come up with a winning strategy for your case. Call them today at 1-888-99-NOLES. That's 1-888-99-NOLES to review your case for free. If you don't need them today, still give them a follow on YouTube and Twitter at Rohan Law, ROHANLAW. They will be your best friends on your worst day. But TJ, we're here to talk about Louisiana at Florida State. Florida State opens the game as a 24-point favorite. Kickoff is at noon on ESPN3. We're getting the Miami treatment thanks to Louisiana not being a great team. A quick look at Louisiana based on there's basically advanced metrics. Bill Connolly's SP Plus, I think, is one of the best ones because it's opponent adjusted. It's, they take out garbage time, all that good stuff. They have the 98th best offense in the country. Not great, but the 23rd best defense, which is pretty impressive. 51st on special teams, which is solid, right there, top the 50% or so. They are 3-5 in their last 8 games, 5-8 or 5-5 overall. Led by quarterback Ben Wooldridge, 1,600 yards, 15 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Just initial thoughts on Louisiana, the Ragin Cajuns, who lost a lot of players that were really good when Billy Napier decided to head on down to Gainesville last year.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, right? They are not last year's team, but they're still a pretty good team. I've listened and done a little bit of research, and I think they're 5-5, but I think 3 of their losses are by 1 score. They could very easily be 8-2 right now. And so I think that they're rated, pretty properly. Like they're, 5-5. Defense has been good. Offense has struggled at times. They had a game where I think they didn't score an offensive touchdown until the last minute of the game. In looking at some of their box scores and stuff, I'll be pretty fair with you and pretty honest with you. I haven't watched any Louisiana games. Actually, that's not true. I did watch. They played on like a Thursday night or something that I did watch, but they were pretty ravaged. Obviously, they lost their head coach. Their quarterback was a senior, so they didn't get him back. They lost a couple of their impact players to Florida. Probably the best offensive lineman in the ACC or in the SEC plays for Florida right now. Osiris Torrance, who they lost, obviously lost a really good running back who's killing it at UF right now as well. And so they're not the same team that they were last year. They're not the same team that won 10 games. Obviously, in first-year coach there with Napier being gone. But they're a team that fights pretty hard. They've got some playmakers. They've got some talent on both sides. Got some guys that, in spots can be pretty good. So I think that, a lot of it is, what does Florida State do? And can they just kind of keep doing what they've been doing, right? They've played 3 teams that they're significantly better than, and they've just absolutely beat their heads in. Does Florida State get caught looking ahead? Do they get caught with a kind of a sleepy nooner? I don't expect it to be a crazy high-attended game. Hopefully we just get a bunch of kids out there. I'm giving my tickets away. But, yeah, I'm hoping that Florida State just kind of comes out and handles it like, handles business the way they need to. But as far as Louisiana themselves, they're not an opponent that worries me. This is not a Jacksonville State issue or anything like that I'm worried about. What about you?
Yeah, initial thoughts. I did watch a little bit of that Georgia Southern game where they kind of dominated them for the most part, even after not having a great first 9 games. This is a group of 5 team, and I expect Florida State to kind of treat them that way. First, shout out Gator Kirk. He's always one of the first people to be in here and comment every week.
Gator Kirk's a man, bro.
Yeah, hit that like and subscribe. Love you, Gator Kirk. But yeah, man, it's just not a team. They do have a receiver, Michael Jefferson. He's got more targets than the next 2 wide receivers combined. I think he plays on Sundays. I think he has a chance to be a somewhat early round draft pick. So they're not a team without talent, but they're really good for their level. They not nowhere near what they were last year. You discussed that, TJ, when Billy Napier just had that offense rolling. But it's a game. Again, I'm most worried about what you mentioned, the sleepy nooner, and it's a short week before the Florida Gators come to town. And that's like, I think you and I both, TJ and Harlan as well, backstage, cannot wait for that game. I think that's going to be a slugfest. I just hope the players are not looking too far ahead. It's hard not to have that in the back of their mind, I think. But I think Mike Norvell's done a good job of having this team come out prepared to play. I thought last week against Syracuse, they would win. I did not see domination like we saw. Coming off a huge emotional high win against the Miami Hurricane team that you basically flipped the script from 2 years ago when you were down in Seminole Hard Rock Stadium last time. And to come out from Syracuse from possession 1, amazing, right? And dominate from start to finish. And Florida State doesn't have really a lot of slow starts this year under Mike Norvell, and I think that's a staple of his program. And I think that if that happens on Saturday, we might be going live at 2:00 in the start of the third quarter to talk about this victory and start looking ahead to the Florida Gators. Because man, what an opportunity for Florida State. Take care of business this week. Get the Gators at home. If you beat them, you're looking at a potential 10-win season. And I remember how excited I was when we beat South Carolina in the Peach Bowl to get 10 wins in Jimbo's first year. When you've been down like we have been, we all want to go to the playoff, right? We all want that. And that's our goal in the future. We know that's not happening this year, but getting that double-digit win season is huge, and it starts Saturday at noon.
Yeah. Now you can't come out and lay an egg, and you've seen that. Like you've seen that from Florida State in the past. You've seen that from other teams where they slip up and they're having an okay year. They're having a good year, but they take an opponent lightly. They leave an opponent in the game that really they shouldn't, and it comes back to bite them. Florida State is a 24-point favorite, as you mentioned. They opened up at 21 and then immediately got bet up to that 24. So I think there is a lot of confidence in the Noles. Somebody mentioned, that it'd be nice if the starters were done at halftime. Florida State's done a good job under Mike Norvell of coming out and playing well. I mean, even that, even the Jacksonville State game that nobody wants to mention and stuff, we started pretty well in that game. It was the fourth quarter that kind of blew it. So I think that, last year you had a big emotional win against a Miami team. You went on the road to then take on Boston College, and you started that game really, really well. And then you had to play Florida the next week. I do like the fact that there is a little bit of a break in between, right? You get to play a kind of a cupcake before you play the Gators. But I do think Mike Norvell will have the team focused and ready to go. I remember, man, I remember playing football like in middle school, man, like for like Pop Warner leagues and stuff. And I wasn't very good.
Your prime years as an athlete.
Prime years for sure. But our team was great. Like we won the Super Bowl that year. Kid played on our team that was played D1 basketball at Butler. The year that he was actually on the team when Butler played in the national championship. He was like the seventh man. So like he'd get in a little bit. But anyway,
this bank shot that would have won the title of it too. What a phenomenal finish that game was, man.
So we had some players on that, and we were really, really good. But like the reward was always like, okay, if we can get the starters out by halftime, and there was like a certain score, then if we got to, he would take the starters out. He would cancel one of the practices the next week. So it was like a race. And I'm not saying Norvell does that because it's a short week anyway, but that was always – and so we played so hard to get up by like – because I think if you were up by like, I don't know, 35, it was a running clock in the second half. So if you were up 35, he'd put the second string in and stuff. So I got to play a lot of second halves. That was always the race, right? Like, could you get up? So I'd love, if you didn't play any of your starters second half, let Tate get some action. I do think AJ's has been saved. I think his red shirt has been saved this year, and they've been intentionally not playing him. So I could see him playing this weekend because I don't, unless it's like an emergency situation, I don't see him playing against Florida. But he has 2 games left that he could potentially play in. So if you did need him in an emergency situation against Florida, you'd play him. Just don't let him play the bowl. I think they'd like to save him for the bowl if they could, just kind of, again, emergency situation. But, I think be good to get those guys in. Can't get caught choking on a cupcake here. The Noles should win this game going away. And it really shouldn't be a contest. You need to go out and take care of business, and you can't treat it as flippantly as we are. But Richie and I don't have to suit up. We're not in middle school playing Pee Wee anymore. So, the Noles should come out and win by a ton. And that's, honestly why we didn't have a guest this week. We know what this week is going to be. Let's get through it and start focusing on Florida. I did peek to pit last night with Allie, and the first 15 minutes of the show we spent talking about the Florida State game because they play Vandy this week. So, we all know what the fans are thinking about, right? Hopefully the team is thinking about Louisiana, but as fans, we're just ready to kick some Gator ass. So there's that.
Well, it's nice to have a look-ahead game because we haven't had this really since Jimbo Fisher's last year in 2017. Especially after 2-3 weeks in that 2017 season, we're like, oh, crap, man, every game's a battle. Then 2018, 19, 2020, complete disaster, 2021. Okay, we showed some signs of life after the 4-game losing streak to open the season. And here we are now, again, looking at a 10-game or 10-win season right down the barrel. It's amazing. And, like you mentioned, I think Mike Norvell even said as much on Monday at his press conference that A.J. Duffy and Rodney Hill did not play last week because he wanted to preserve those red shirts, right? When you have a guy like Rodney Hill, who I think has a chance to be an all-ACC caliber running back, and you're saving that red shirt, I don't know if we'll be here for 5 years, but that's pretty cool that you can do that. And it's great that those are the decisions you're having to make now and not, man, here we are in the fourth quarter. It's a dogfight again against a reeling Syracuse team. No, you took on a bad team and did exactly what you were supposed to do. And I loved every minute of it, TJ, and it was phenomenal. And it feels good to be a Florida State fan. I don't know the last time that I woke up on Sunday and said, man, I can't wait till Saturday to watch Florida State again. Because the past few years, I've kind of dreaded it. It's been like, oh, man, are we getting blown out? Can we just keep this game close? Now, outside of Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, there's not a team in the country that I would go into a game thinking, man, there's just no chance, right? Those three teams are on another level, especially Georgia. Look at their sideline. Look at our sideline. It is what it is. We're doing our best to recruit. Donate to Rising Spear, people. That is the quickest way to get these elite guys in there. But the 130 plus teams, only 3 of them I would not give us a chance in. And again, that's Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan. Anyone else? Give me Alabama. Give me LSU again. Give me Clemson again. I'm not saying I predict us to beat any of those teams, but I would not be scared of getting blown out in any of those games. And you go back to 2020, it was a blessing we did not have to play Clemson or Florida, because those games would have gotten ugly, and they would have gotten ugly fast.
Yeah, I would like to play. I will say this: I would like to play Clemson healthy right now. So yeah, bring them on.
I think we'd beat Clemson if we played them healthy right now. I really do.
I think I'd feel better about Clemson than I would LSU, because I think they're kind of rolling right now. I still feel good about LSU, but okay, let's do this. We're going to talk a little bit about postseason. We're going to talk about the bowls. You put out a tweet. I put out a video this morning. But we're going to talk about bowl season a little bit, and then we'll come back to our made equal pick 6. But want to get your thoughts on this. Want to talk through some of these. Florida State has some different bowl options coming up, and we're going to call this our Rohan Law bowl projection segment. We gave Rohan Law the shout out earlier. You guys know they gave away a pair of tickets to the Clemson game in the Champions Club, and they're doing it again with the second biggest game of the year, the Florida State game at the end of the year. If you want to enter the contest, you have 1 day left. So hopefully you've listened to this at sometime on, or 2 days left. Okay, so it's Friday morning. You've got 2 days left. You need to text UFTix. That's UFTIX to 850-809-1906 if you want to win 2 tickets. If you want to be entered in the contest, you get 2 Champions Club tickets as well as a parking pass. You need to text UFTix to 850-809-1906. If you entered to win the Clemson tickets, you do have to enter again. If you want to watch FSU beat UF while you're stealthed full of turkey on Friday night, text UFTix to 850-809-1906. Appreciate Rohan Law for making this happen for one of our listeners. Richie, let's talk a little bit about some bowl projections. We'll just use your tweet here because people really seem to like that and interact really, really well with it. But, okay, so the big one, we'll go down the list. The big one's the Orange Bowl. And I think we all kind of know, like, yeah, if we could make the Orange Bowl, that'd be really, really cool. That'd be an amazing story to go from an over-under of 6.5 games to then getting into a New Year's Six Bowl. I posted a video this morning. It's on the YouTube. It's the most recent video posted. Literally, it's got the Orange Bowl on the front of it. Talks about FSU's chances of getting there and the path to getting there. So I don't want to go through that whole thing again, but essentially Clemson needs to go to the playoff, which is possible. You just need to go and watch the video if you want that breakdown. So Richie and I would both have that first. We disagree on where we want to go second, though. So what do you have as your second highest in priority?
So we've had this discussion before, TJ. I don't like driving long distances really to go anywhere. So if we cannot get to the Orange Bowl, I want the Cheez-It Bowl in Orlando because it's, less than 10 miles from my house. And there's a chance you could get Texas in there, a team you could definitely beat, but a massive brand. That'd probably be the highest rated Cheez-It Bowl in history. People would tune in to watch 2 national brands like Florida State and Texas. And again, I'm a little biased just because it's an easy drive for me. I could work a half day if I wanted to. I'd probably just take the day off from work and tailgate all day. But yeah, the Cheez-It Bowl in Orlando is definitely my second option because the stars really have to align to get to the Orange Bowl. It's extremely unlikely. There is a bit of a path. But yeah, the Cheez-It Bowl to Orlando, again, maybe not the most prestigious as your top choice outside of the Orange Bowl. But for me personally, for selfish reasons, I'm a selfish person. Give me the Cheez-It Bowl.
So I would like to go to the Gator Bowl. That's my number one. I would thank you, Nathan, for the compliment. I appreciate that. We put a lot of work into those videos. So that's good stuff. I would say that the bowl in Jacksonville, the Gator Bowl, I think that's a little bit more prestigious. There's also the projections are saying that you would either play South Carolina or Kentucky there. And I'm a troll, so I'd really like to say that we went 3-0 against the SEC. So yeah, that would be my pick. But going back to yours, I do think that Orlando would be really, really cool. I think, some of the projections there have been Oklahoma State, Kansas State, or Texas. Obviously, you're going to have a Big 12 team in that. I would not be super excited about Kansas State or Oklahoma State. I would be thrilled with Texas. I think that's a heck of a fun matchup. Florida State and Texas have never played, and so it'd be cool to get to 1-0 against them. I do feel good about that game, too. I think Texas would have quite a number of guys sit out, a lot of talent on that roster, and so I think we win that game as well.
Real quick.
Okay, so go ahead.
Made Equal just picked my
no, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say,
option.
yeah. So that's Jacksonville in Orlando. Richie complains about having to drive more than 15 minutes, and so his second pick is to, like, New York City. So anyway, a little bit ridiculous, but yeah, Richie, why on New York City? And shout out Made Equal for reading Richie's mind here.
Absolutely.
Gerard will go though. Like, you're not going. We know you're not going.
I'll go to the Pinstripe. Absolutely, I'm going to the Pinstripe if it happens.
Mark that minute down, Harlan.
Plane flights do not scare me. I did a day trip, a 6 a.m. flight, and at 12 a.m. getting back home to go to the UNC basketball game last year. Like, I can get a Bloody Mary in the morning, hop on the plane, pass out, go to the game. But no, my wife's one of her best friends actually lives on Long Island, so we'd probably go stay with them and visit with their kids. But yeah, the Pinstripe Bowl in New York City, it would be cold. That would suck. But New York City in December, it's right around Christmas. I would try to convince my wife to say, let's just do Christmas in New York City this year, right? That would be awesome. Yeah, it would be awesome. Go to the Rockefeller Center. Yeah, go to the Rockefeller Center, all that good stuff. Now, this one's extremely unlikely unless we lose the next 2 weeks, so I don't think this one's really in play. But as far as ACC, I would love to go to Yankee Stadium. I know it's not the old one, it's the new one. But I would love a Yankee Stadium, go play a Big Ten team. I think it'd be a ton of fun. So, yeah, outside of the orange and the Cheez-It, I would love to go to New York City for the Pinstripe Bowl. I think that would be a ton of fun. One of the greatest cities in the world. I wouldn't want to live there. It gets too cold for me year-round, but a phenomenal place to visit if you haven't been.
I can't disagree on – so I'd like to go to the Pinstripe Bowl. Here's the thing. I don't know that I can realistically pull it off with the kids, the holidays. We're traveling for Thanksgiving. So I really want to go to the game. It would be cool to watch the Noles in Yankee Stadium. A big problem to me is the idea of the bowl prestige. So if we're going there, it means we probably lost to Florida. Yeah. And so that's why I don't want that one. So that's tough for me. I've seen this one too, the Holiday Bowl out on the other side of the country. So you want to go somewhere, sub freezing. I would like to go to San Diego for the Holiday Bowl because that sounds amazing. La Jolla is beautiful. The beach is beautiful. San Diego against Utah is a projection that I've seen a little bit. That would be a lot of fun. Utah obviously lost to Florida to open their year. They've gotten to play a weak Pac-12 schedule the rest of the season, so we'll have to show them what state of Florida football is all about in their season with an L as well. That one would be fun. Again, I don't know if I can pull that off or if I can get out there. But that is a fun matchup. I think Florida State Utah would be a lot of fun, and it'd be cool for our guys, I think, to get to go to San Diego. You going to San Diego if we make it, Richie?
I'm not, just because I know what plane tickets cost now with going across the country, and I'm just not doing that, especially I think it's on a weekday. But I do like the idea of the potential matchups, right? If you get a Utah out there, I mean, you're on troll level midnight at that point, because if you lose to them after Florida beat them earlier this year, but if you beat Florida, then it doesn't matter anyway. But San Diego, that's one place I've never been. I've been to San Francisco. I've been to LA. I love California. It's an amazing state. The scenery is beautiful out there. And San Diego, by all accounts, has the best year-round climate in the entire country. Yeah, I would love to go there. I would not make this trip, though. But I think it would be a fun matchup, much more than like going to the Military Bowl and playing a Group of 5 team. I'd want to avoid a Group of 5 team because that's a lose-lose situation no matter how you spin it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't want to go to, shout out our military, but I don't want to go to the Military Bowl. When that was against UCF, I actually wouldn't have minded it because I still think we're that much better than UCF. People are like, if you lose to them, like what? No, I love
we'd blow them out. Yeah.
But now that it's Cincinnati, I mean, it's a boring match. I mean, 10 wins is 10 wins, but, that sounds terrible. I've seen the Tony the Tiger's Sun Bowl. I've still got flashbacks to 2019, so I don't want to do that one. Let's go. Let's do something here in Florida. Sounds good to me. Like, I think that's the consensus. Pinstripe would be cool. Holiday would be cool, but I think we're going to win too many games for both of those. Okay, let's do this. There's our bowl segment. If you didn't check out the video earlier on the channel, once we wrap up here in about 5-10 minutes, go check that out. Kind of lay out the map to get to the Orange Bowl. Harlan, why don't you jump in here? This is our Made Equal Pick Six segment. Made Equal Pick Six. Shout out to Made Equal Clothing. I got my joggers in, Richie. You better get yours on order. Got my joggers in. Saw my guy Jermaine, who won our contest last week, got his shirt. Shout out to Made Equal Clothing, a clothing brand that raises awareness for racial and color discrimination and financially supports local charities and partners working to bring positive change for it. Primary objective of the brand is to create a platform for anyone and everyone to talk about race, diversity, culture, and facing adversity in a safe place. Best part about Made Equal, and I picked the Boys and Girls Club of Tampa here for mine, they donate 10% of your order to one of their local partners that you choose from a list. It's madeequalco.com. You can follow them on Twitter. Made Equal CO is the handle. Got my joggers in. Chirag, we tied last week. We went four. You got 4 right and I got 4 right, but you did beat Richie, so I feel like Richie should have to buy something for somebody. But we'll play again this week. We'll see who wins out of me and Trot. I've got no confidence in these. We're playing Louisiana. Who knows how much anyone's actually going to play in this game and everything else. But yeah, Harlan, tell us what to give us the scores overall right now, what we did last week, and Richie then run down the list for us.
Yeah, so we got TJ at 30, Richie at 34, and of course me at the top at 35. And then as of last week, Made Equal and TJ tied at 4, Richie at 3, and I only got 2 last week. So y'all made up some ground here.
That's my best week of the year, I think.
I feel like this week, and I'm going to say a little bit about Florida State basketball at the end of this real quick, but this week is like betting on early season college basketball. Just don't do it, guys. You're literally rolling the dice. It makes no sense what's going on. We don't know what these teams are. Same with this game and these pick sixes. I feel like this is literally going to Vegas and just putting money on red or black, but we're going to do it anyway. We're going to start with Florida State, 235.5 rush yards. Seems like, again, they're probably going to want to just get in, get out, stay healthy. Think we run the ball out. I think we do see Rodney Hill this week. I think we'll hit over on that one just because and again, Louisiana is not a bad defense. Top 25 according to the advanced metrics, but Florida State runs on everybody. 5 straight games to 200 yards. TJ, what do you think?
So I'll go over, and if Harlan's going to go over too, I'll raise it up to 255 and go over still. If anybody will take the under.
Harlan.
So I set all my lines beforehand with what I think, and then I listened to y'all. If you're going to raise it to 255, I'll go under.
What you got, Richie?
So let's raise it to 255. Harlan, mark that down. I will also take the under.
Okay. 255. I got over. I got to make some stuff happen, man. I'm down by like a billion points. All
right. So
look at Made Equal going over 300. All right. Y'all are too rich for my blood.
I like it. I mean, we do have –
this is like
I think
poker.
Top to bottom.
Yeah.
I think top to bottom, we have easily a top 5 stable in the country at running back. I don't think that's debatable, but let's go to QB1.
If we're at like 256 and Tate kneels the ball like 3 times to end the game, that don't count.
I'm taking the points.
By the way,
I'm taking the points.
All I do is look at the box score and add it up. That's all I do.
I actually hope we're at like 260, and he just takes a safety at the end on a 10-yard loss or something just to screw TJ.
How would he do that? Great. Yeah. TJ was tweeting bad about me in the Louisville game. Go ahead.
All right, so let's go to QB1, 249 total yards, rushing and passing. Let's start with Harlan.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play much in this game. I'm going to go under.
TJ.
I'll go under as well.
I'll go over. Just to keep it interesting here. Johnny Wilson, basically, does he get a touchdown or not? I'll let TJ start this one off. The over-under at 0.5.
Yeah, I'll take a Wilson touchdown this week. No, I'll go under. I'll go under on this one. I think they'll be less apt to throw fades and stuff this week just to keep it off of film as much as they can because I think you need it next week. So I think you're pretty basic this week. If he ends up taking a slant in from 7 yards out, then he does. But I'll go under here.
All right. We'll go over our bold predictions from before the season. I did have Johnny Wilson leading the team with touchdowns. He has another one this week. I'll take the over on this one. How about you, Harlan?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under on this one. I don't think we're gonna throw the ball much unless he just gets one over the top and goes for 70. Yeah. I'm gonna take the under.
Which is possible the way he throws guys off of him. But let's talk about him before we wrap up as well. Saw some news coming out today, but go ahead.
Yeah, so Tate Rodemaker, 79.5 total yards. I had pass originally, but I changed it to total yards for Tate Rodemaker. I'll go first on this one. I think this is tough. I do think Mike wants to get Jordan out of the game early, right? He knows what he's at. He's had a phenomenal season, probably the best season since Jameis had in 2013. I think Tate's going to have an opportunity, but they're just going to be run heavy. So I reluctantly take the under here. How about you, Harlan?
Yeah, so y'all were talking about Duffy earlier. It takes 4 games to lose your red shirt, right? You get 4.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's only played in 2. So that tells me that he wants to play Duffy in this game as well because there's only 2 games left in the bowl.
There's a bowl too, though. So
yeah, but he's not going to play the game. So I'm going to take the under because I think Duffy's going to get snaps in this game.
Yeah, I'll go under here as well. So again, do we want to back that down a little bit and call it like 49.5 yards?
Let's call it 49.5. And I just changed it on the outline, and now I'm at the over because I do think he hits it.
Yeah, I'd have to go over if you go 49.
So what were we at? 69? Okay, so what about 59?
No, I'll still go under. I'll still go under.
Okay, I'll go over
there.
I'll try and pick up the point on Harlan. I'll go over on that one.
All right. This
over
one
at 49.5. Yeah, that's fine.
So these next two,
no,
I
you know
did not
what? No, I changed my mind. Under.
Harlan's gonna have to listen back like 10 times of this to figure out what's going on.
He writes it down.
I'm marking it down.
So the next two I did not change from last week because I like them both, and we may have to raise this one, guys, depending on what you say. But Jared Verse 1.5 tackles for loss or sacks in the game. TJ, go for it.
I'm gonna go under on this one. I think that he plays less snaps overall. Just no real need to have him in there as much. So I'll go under here. But I mean,
what are you saying?
Shoot, I mean, it's the worst offensive line he's going to see, so probably wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over. I mean, I feel like if he plays 3 drives, he's gonna get 2. So I'll go over.
Yeah, if it was sacks, I'd probably go under, but since I included tackle for loss, I'll go over as well. And the last one breaks my heart, guys, that I'm having to do this again. Florida State hoops 0.5 wins by kickoff of the Louisiana game. I'm going under. Unfortunately, I do not think we beat the Florida Gators on Friday night.
I'll go over if we can count women's hoops because they're beating the hell out of the Gators right now.
Yeah, they are.
So, under on the men. I think we lose to them, but big shout out to Coach Wyckoff, who is 6 minutes and 10 seconds away from being 2-0 against the Gators as a head coach.
Friend of the show, Brooke Wyckoff. Yeah.
Yeah, they're up 78. Yeah, they're up 78-64. So, if I cheer for the Gators, in basketball, then I'm going to pick up a point on Harlan. So,
yeah, first win of the season over the Gators. There it is.
ESPN's got us like a 51% chance to win, so it's not done just yet. So, all right, we'll recap those next week. We'll get them going. I think that's it. Harlan, get out of here, man. Appreciate you.
Harlan, give us a score prediction first.
Oh, yeah.
He's always trying to kick me out of here early.
Because your mic's so good. It makes me jealous.
I've gone 42 points the last 3 weeks, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go 42-17 Florida State.
I like that one. I think this defense is not bad. Like, I think it's definitely better than what Syracuse had. They're better than Miami. They're better than Georgia Tech. So I do think they hold us down a little bit. And I think Norvell comes out extremely vanilla. He does not want to put anything on film for Billy Napier next week. I think we push on the 24-point spread. I'm going to say Florida State 34, Louisiana 10, and that may be a backdoor push because I do think the defense can dominate this offense. But, one broken play, and there's your touchdown. So Florida State 34, Louisiana 10. TJ.
48-10, Noles. They get a touchdown late against the third string. Game's never in doubt. 48-10 FSU. Okay, we were talking about Johnny Wilson. Let's talk about a couple more things. That was our Made Equal Pick 6 segment. Johnny Wilson signed with Rising Spear to be an ambassador. Obviously, anything could happen here, but I think that's a great sign that he's likely coming back next year. If he was gone in 3 weeks, I don't imagine that he'd be signing a deal with Rising Spear as an official ambassador. And so anything can happen. If he goes off for like 8 touchdowns the next 3 weeks, he could be out. But Made Equal with the spiked baseball. Let's go.
Man, if that happens, I'll be watch out for my UF prediction at that point.
Yeah. So, but yeah, looks like you should get Johnny Wilson back next year, which is really, really good news. That wide receiver room very likely is going to feature Winston Wright, Johnny Wilson, and Hakeem Williams. I think the Pittman would be back. He's got a year of eligibility left. That wide receiver room could be really, really good. I like Goldie Lawrence is coming in, a 4-star wide receiver as well. So, that room has flipped on its head. Offensive line takes some time, takes 4 or 5 years to flip. The wide receiver room has gone from last to, I'm probably going to say that's the best wide, if all that's in place next year, that's the best wide receiver group in the country. And it's really not close. So,
in the country or in the conference?
Conference.
Yeah. Chill,
probably
bro.
top 5 to 8 in the country, though.
I'd say top 10. Yeah.
Oh, somewhere between. Yeah, I'd say somewhere between 5 and 10. So yeah, I like it. I like what that wide receiver room has done to come to flip and turn around, and that's really good stuff there. So shout out Johnny Wilson again. I have another shout out for the women's basketball team, up 18 right now with 5 minutes to go.
Let's go.
Just hit a free throw, so up 19. So blow them out of the tuck. Richie, you got anything before we get out of here? And you want to talk about basketball quickly, or however you want to wrap this thing up?
Guys, it's going to be a rough season. It just is. That half the team is injured. Baba's suspended. We talked about that last week. It is what it is. I think 10 wins might be tough to get to this year. And that sounds terrible, but that's really where this program is. Leonard Hamilton has built this program on a full court press defense and running up and down the court, playing 10, 11 guys a night. They played 7 guys the other night against Troy, and they're just not there. They don't have anyone who can just really take over a game and create anything just yet. Little surprised that Matthew Cleveland and Jalen Morley haven't taken that next step, especially Cleveland. I thought this season he had a chance to play himself into the lottery. I think he could still be a first-round pick just on potential alone. It's going to be a long season. I will do a basketball minute after every single win just for those, because I don't think there's going to be many this year. But, I was at the game at UCF, had a lot of fun, met up with shout out Yvetta on Twitter. She's a big supporter of the podcast. She came out with me and Lindsay and had some drinks after the game. Just preparing everybody, guys. It's a long season. There will be no postseason for the basketball team this year. And my last shout out is to my mother-in-law. Happy birthday, Donna.
Attaboy. Remembering moms. See that Luke Kromenhoek went from 3 stars to 4 stars. A top 10 quarterback in the country.
Yeah, top 100 overall.
So, So I think he's just going to continue to rise. There were a lot of jokes made when Florida State picked him up, and just a 3-star, middle of the road. Kid's great, and trust Norvell's talent evaluation there. Cool. I think that's it. Shout out to maybe we got a YouTube video coming soon on Luke. I didn't know that we were doing that, but I got a full-time YouTube guy behind the scenes now. So shout out to Harlan. Hey, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to Bay Can and Beer Co. for letting us come in and do this here all year. Yeah. Rohan Law for giving away tickets. Again, you need to enter to win the tickets. You got to scroll up to find the phone number. UF Tix to 850-809-1906. That will be announced on Friday if you want to win 2 tickets to the Champions Club for Florida. Dude, I've seen the resale prices. People are asking me for tickets right now, and I'm like, this thing's sold out, man. And the tickets are insane. So if you want to go watch the game in the Champions Club with a parking pass, UF Tix to 850-809-1906. We'll announce a winner for that on Friday. And then, of course, shout out Made Equal Clothing. Make sure you support them, madeequalco.com. You can follow them on social media, Made Equal CO. They partner with Trayshawn Ward. Appreciate what they do in giving back. And I'm wearing those joggers all week up there in the mountains of Georgia. So y'all, I promise there's a washer and dryer there. I'm washing them every night too. But Richie, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys on Saturday for an instant reaction after the Noles get their 8th win of the year. Talk to you guys later. Go Noles.